Hello and welcome to another episode of 5-Minute Dissertation Diaries. Today is Sunday, March 20th, 2022. It's been a busy week and I'm getting very close to the end of getting this proposal done and sent out for an initial/final round of reviews. I'm hoping to have it done by Wednesday. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to happen or not, but let me tell you what I've been working on. On Monday, I started working on the outline of the data analysis procedure section. My entire goal was to get that done by this coming Wednesday. I read an article, Brown and Clark, read it again. I finished reading that article the next day. I reread portions of Saldana Coding Manual for qualitative researchers. I rewatched the analysis section of meeting with my methodologist last September 13th. A content expert notified that she had a death in the family and the proposal review is on hold indefinitely. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, what I did was I went ahead and refined the data analysis outline. I read an article, Manning 2017, on in vivo coding, Scott and Middaugh on axial coding. I created this beautiful visual for explaining the coding process. You see on the screen we've got a couple boxes, and this is part of what I put together, and it was to describe what axial coding and theming is. The first box on top is a transition to axial coding, and the figures I put into my paper are the first upper left box that just shows what happens after I have a bunch of in vivo codes, and then the first upper box, which contains the two boxes upper left and upper right, that shows axial coding in the process, where categories are derived from the in vivo codes. Then the box on the bottom, what I've done is I've talked about how we go from the categories in vivo codes to themes, and that's the theming step. So I put that together and I feel really good about that. I went ahead and sliced that up into individual pieces and went ahead and put it in my paper. I think that's going to do a good job of explaining kind of what I'm trying to do in terms of the coding process. After I created that visual on Wednesday, I went ahead and updated the ISP, that's the Individual Success Plan, and I posted an update to the LDP, that's a learner dissertation page where I communicate with my dissertation committee. On Thursday, I continued working on the outline for data analysis procedures, and I wrote paragraphs of data collection section, the introduction and the data. Now here what we have, this is my outline, my mind map for the data analysis procedures. You see the introduction section's blank. I actually had a pretty good introduction here. But on the data section, I have a topic sentence. I have organization is my subtopic, preparation, management, and then a conclusion. I could have fleshed those out more. I didn't. The pre-coding section, I had 4 topics here. Did I have 4, 5, 6? 6 topics. The pre-coding section, I talked about the different things I was going to do with pre-coding, the in vivo coding section, the axial coding section, the theming section, and of course the reporting section. I filled out all this information in the hopes that I'd be able to put together a good piece. And also in here you'll see that we have section requirements. Those are what I wrote out as part of the, not the syllabus, it's the rubric. And then I looked at, I tried to format the requirements summary into pieces. This is what I used to drive the different topics that I was going to discuss. I just took these section requirements and put them into different pieces. And I realized I have data prep and data management. Those were big things, and then coding processes. Then what I did was I looked at some dissertations that I had, and I tried to break down their structure of this section. One was the Arizona Credit Union. I talked about preparation, transcription, coding, code book, semi-structured interviews, triangulation, saturation, themes, colors, conclusion. Then I went ahead and I did the same for the gamification one, and it's a little harder to read, but again, it gave me kind of a structure. These were structures that were already in use at accepted dissertations, so I use those to drive the structure and a lot of what I do. This is the data analysis procedures outline or mind map that I did. I tried to do this for every section, give me an idea of how I'm going to structure it. So that's what that was. I went through and I worked on building this outline. It continued to grow throughout this process. And then I went ahead and wrote paragraphs for this section. I wrote the introduction. That was actually pretty good. Just had to make some refinements. The data topic, which as you may recall was the topic 1. And then on Friday, what I went ahead and did was I wrote the paragraphs of the data collection section pre-coding and in vivo coding. And then on Saturday, I wrote the remaining 3 sections. That's the axial coding, the theming, and the reporting. I made a conscious decision not to put a conclusion in there. I didn't think of a graceful way to do it. So yesterday, the 19th, I was done with the data analysis section. Arguably one of the most difficult I've dealt with because it's hard for me to structure it. The next one I write will be a lot easier, but that one was difficult. Today what I did was I wanted to go through and work on the next piece, which is the ethical considerations. I went through and I noticed there were some inconsistencies with some of what I had done. I removed the word technology from the title. The title used to say things like studying mergers and acquisitions of United States technology firms. I shortened it to just United States firms. I don't think technology it's relevant to have that as a limiter. I also noticed that I was inconsistent with United States companies and United States firms. I went ahead and went through and changed everything to both. And I worked on outlining and writing some of the ethical considerations section. I found out there are only a couple places that I really needed to do some surgery, and one of them was I didn't have the right appendices. So I took today to go through and redo the informed consent. That was actually harder than it seemed, and I have a lot of questions about the informed consent form. In particular, 2 main things pop up. One is you're supposed to have your informed consent form down to an 8th grade level. And I ran that through a checker, and it's at the 14th grade level. The problem is that most of the high grade level, virtually all of the high grade level text, is text that's boilerplate within this document, and I can't fix that. I can't adjust it. I can't change that. So what do I do? How do I reduce the grade level when the problem with the grade level is in the boilerplate? I've got to set time with my dissertation chair and ask that question. I'll ask it later. I don't think it's relevant right now, but it will be soon. The other piece is I have 2 types of data sources. I have interviews and I have questionnaires. Now, my methodologist said you have a single informed consent form, 1, not 2. I had it set up as 2, and you only have 1. The problem is the informed consent form talks about things like, will this be recorded? Yes. Well, that's not applicable for the questionnaires. It is for the interviews. So it looks weird for the questionnaire recipients because so much of it doesn't apply. I don't know how to handle that. I'll talk to my methodologist about it. That's what I did. I worked on getting the informed consent refined and pasted into my Appendix B. And I worked on, or maybe that was D, it was one of them. And the other one needed a copy of my site authorization. Even though it was preliminary, I pasted that into the appropriate appendix. That's what I got done today. That's what I got done this week. What's coming up, all I've got to do is flesh out the ethical considerations piece, the limitations and delimitations piece, and the summary, clean it up. And then I'm done. I've got everything taken care of. I'm hoping to do that in the next coming 2 days. Tuesday I'm out, so I've got tomorrow night, Monday, and Wednesday night before I submit. Hopefully I can get it all done by then. Oh, and I've got to finish the ethical considerations. So I've got ethical considerations, I've got limitations, and I've got summary. Hopefully I can get those all squared away and to a place where everybody's happy by Wednesday. But even if it bleeds to Thursday, I don't think that's so bad. The real due date is a week from Wednesday. So if it goes to Thursday, I don't think that's that big a deal. That's what I've got. That's what I've been up to. Hope you're doing well and whatever you're doing and wherever you're going. Hopefully next time when I record this, I'll say that it's submitted for final review or my final piece is submitted to my committee for review, and I can be working on getting all the pieces together for IRB and AQR. AQR is next, followed immediately by IRB. Take care.